need to pay attention to with respect to parts of speech, because too many confusions prop up in this area. Adjective, what is it? The major function is to modify either a noun or a pronoun, right? And it can tell you about what kind, how many, which, as you see on the screen. We have many types of adjectives. At this moment, we are not concerned about what their kinds or types are. For at least this course, we are more concerned about how they function. What are the major functions of adjectives in a when used in a sentence, right? If you understand that, then the type and variety does not matter so much. Okay. Those are details, and they are mostly for people who want to look at all of these things in at length. But if you are learning language for mostly the usage sake, then types and varieties are not something that you should be concerned much about. So just know adjectives, they are modifiers. Okay, another name that you can use for adjective is that of a modifier. And what do they modify? They always modify noun phrases or pronouns. Okay, if you have this basic understanding about adjective, you are good to go. How about adverb? Again, adverbs are also modifiers, but they're a little different from adjective in the sense that what it modifies is different from adjective. So if adjectives are modifiers to nouns or pronouns, adverbs are modifiers to either a verb or an adjective or another adverb, right? So adverb can modify three things: verb, adjective, or another adverb, whereas adjectives would modify noun or pronoun. Okay, this is a basic difference. And you can look at the differences. I mean, the kinds, again, adverbs also will have different kinds of adverbs, right? You might have heard terms like, adverb of manner, degree, place, time. These terms are not very important more than, your knowledge of how adverbs act. So look at words that can talk to you about, that can describe how an action has happened, when it has happened, where it has happened, or to what extent or degree it has happened. If there are words in the sentences which talk about this particular aspect, then they are mostly adverbs. Okay, and they can be found along with verbs or adjectives or another adverbs, right? So an example like she drives the car very fast. Okay, what is your adverb in the sentence? She drives the car very fast. Just to begin with, I'm trying to give an example of what.
Very.
Very is adverb. Any other adverb?
Fast.
Sorry?
Fast.
Fast, right? So you have two adverbs in this sentence. She drives the car very fast, right? Fast is also an adverb and very is also an adverb. What is this very doing? This is the adverb which is modifying the adverb fast. So this is a case where adverb is used, two adverbs. Okay, one modifying the verb drive. Okay, how is she driving? Fast. So that's your first adverb. Very is the adverb which is modifying the adverb fast. Right? So this is the major function of adverbs in any sentence. Okay, modify verb, adjective, or another adverb. Okay, so these are the two functions. Okay, but what happens while we use them in sentences, sometimes people can go a bit confused on how to use them. Remember, not all adverbs are going to have your ly at the end. Only few of them, mostly the adverbs of manner, right? The ones which talk about how something has happened can have an ly. But again, we saw in the example that I gave you, fast does not have ly. Okay, we don't use ly with fast. Yet it is also an adverb of manner, or it tells you how the driving has happened. So keep this in mind. The adverbs will not always have an ly. So you will have to look at the sentence carefully and understand what it is modifying, and based on that you will do the identification. Pratik, any doubt?
Adverb, all adverb does not end with ly. I understood that.
Yeah.
But is it possible that a word end with ly, but it is not adverb, it is adjective or something else?
That can also happen. That could also happen.
Is there any example that the word is adjective and in spite of that it's in with ly?
A word that ends with ly, but not an
That
adverb.
is, yes, ma'am, that is adjective.
Uh,
So because it is often asked about adverb and adjective.
yes, correct. Yeah, I'll just give me a minute. Let me see if we have examples. Yes, I think, you know, yes, right. Okay. One thing that comes to me immediately is deadly virus. Okay. Just out of the pandemic. So, in this example, you have the word deadly, right? It has an ly ending, but this is not an adverb. Okay, deadly is an adjective in this case. There are several other examples. It's just that when you want to speak about it, they don't come immediately to you. But deadly is a good example. Okay, it has an ly, but it does not function as an adverb. It is more like an adjective. Get this?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
deadly virus has taken many lives. Okay, so here, deadly acts as an adjective to the noun virus. See this? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Beautifully is an adverb, Lakshmi. It is not a an adverb. Okay, she sang beautifully, so it is modifying the verb sing here. Beautifully is not an example of adverb. Deadly is an example like that, and there could be more actually.
Ma'am, is this can be example shortly on Monday?
Shortly on Monday. What is that?
For example, I will come shortly on Monday.
I will come shortly on Monday is wrong sentence.
Shortly defining verb.
Yeah. Shortly is again, it's about the process of coming in, right? You're talking about your arrival and how it would happen. So it is not an adjective. It is an adverb again. Another example is lovely. Okay. Lovely is also used as an adjective. It is not used as an adverb. So you can find several of such examples. Lovely is one example. Deadly is one example. Elderly. Okay, I saw an elderly couple on the way. So ly suffix is not always an indicator of adverb. Or friendly. Okay, she's a friendly person. In this case, friendly is also an example of adjective, not an adverb. Then yeah, many more actually. There are many such words like that. Yeah. Any other doubts, Ritik? I see.
No, ma'am. I was just closing and but that was already closed.
Okay, no problem. What is it? Merely, no. Merely is adverb. Okay, merely is definitely adverb. Badly can be an example of no, but badly can be used as adverb also. So not fine. Okay, so all these examples you can. I don't have a list of it right now, but I'm sure there are like a lot of them. Find them out. But all the words that I discussed with you can be used as they are used only as adjectives. You don't.
Humanly can be there.
Sorry.
Humanly.
Humanly. No, humanly is an adverb. Humanly is an adverb.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Fine. So this was the distinction that we had to make. And now let's quickly look at.
Humanly means manavta.
Sorry, humanly is not manavta. Manavta is humanity, right? Human is noun and an adjective. No. Human is noun for sure. Okay, let's look at this exercise then. This is an exercise in choosing between the adverb or the adjective, right? Some of them, I think this one is the case where most of it has an ly ending or sometimes a few ly endings. But even they can be used wrongly in sentences, right? So let's see, we'll look through them and try and understand how it works. So the first question, try to solve it. What do you think is you can choose the correct option from the bracket. So you have Meenal, correct or correctly explain the terms. The answer sounded?
Correctly.
Correctly.
What's the first answer?
Correctly.
Correctly.
Okay. And the second one,
Correct.
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 Meenal correctly explained the terms. So what is this correctly talking about? Is it talking about the terms or is it talking about the verb explained?
The verb explained.
The verb explained, right? So you have to, if it is about the verb, then it has to be an adverb in this case. The answer sounded correct.
It's an adjective.
It's an adjective, right? It's an adjective. Then the second one, Maya quickly, quick adjusted the fees. She adapted. So see, sometimes both the in each of this, it has a pair of sentences. They're not necessarily connected to each other. It's just for us to understand the meaning, right? In the first sentence, Maya quickly or quick adjusted the fees. What do you think is the right answer?
Quickly.
Quickly.
Quickly adjusted the fees. Okay. And the second one, she adapted dash to any situation.
Quickly.
Quickly.
Quickly. So in this both cases, you have quickly. Okay. So she quickly adapted or she adapted quickly to any situation. Maya quickly adjusted the fees. Both of the sentences talk about they modify the verb, which is why we're using adverbs. Okay. In both the cases. Third one, I measured the floor dash.
Exactly.
I measured the floor exactly, right? So this is about the person measuring. Then the second one, they were of perfect and exact. You have two options there. So among each of them, what will you choose? They were of dash measurements. Choose between both the brackets.
Perfectly exact.
Perfect.
Perfectly
Perfect and
exact
exact.
measurement.
Exact
Perfectly
measurement.
They were of perfectly
Exact measurements.
measurements. Okay, correct. Fourth one, the stillness of the valley.
Ma'am, third question.
Sorry?
Ma'am, perfectly exact both will be used.
This is, you can combine adverbs and adjectives, no?
But we are talking about measurement.
Yeah, we are talking
Measurement,
about
it is
measurements.
noun here, no?
Sorry? Yes, they are measurements. So what's the problem?
Measurement
Perfectly?
is noun.
Yeah, the perfectly is modifying the adjective exact. No, adverbs can modify adjectives. One of the role is that as well, right?
So we are using two, perfectly and exactly.
Yes, because perfectly is an adverb and exact is your adjective.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, if sentence was there like they were of perfect, comma, exact measurements, then it would also have been correct.
They were of, no, but why would you use perfect and exact together? They both mean the
With a comma.
Yeah, okay, in case there was a comma, yes, you can write perfect, but you don't use commas between adjectives. You usually just write them all along. Okay, so it was a big red coat. Okay, so when you have to write big red coat, you don't use a comma, you just simply write it off. Okay, it is a case of combination of using a combination of adjectives together, right? Yeah, so in that case, no, you can use, if you're using more than one adjective, then you just use it like that. That's it. Okay, in this case, however, we mean it as a adverb which modifies the adjective and an adjective which modifies the noun measurements. Okay, get this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No, Lakshmi, perfectly is an adverb and exact is an adjective. Okay. Yeah, the stillness of the valley was awfully or awful.
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 Awful, right? The stillness of the valley was awful. So, what is awful here? Adjective or adverb?
Adjective.
Adjective, right? So we are referring to the stillness of the valley. Stillness, which is a noun. So awful, adjective. This is a predicative usage of adjective. You might have heard this in the lecture. Two kinds of uses we have with respect to adjective: attributive use and predicative use.
Descriptive and predicative.
So this is a predicative use. Now, the valley was awfully or awful still.
Awfully still.
Awfully.
Verb.
Okay, this is, we are talking about the state of the valley, right? So verb is being modified. So awfully still. Fifth one, it was a dangerous mountain to climb, and the man was dangerously drunk.
Dangerous mountain, dangerously drunk.
It was a dangerous mountain to climb. Okay, no prize for guessing. You have a noun followed by it, so it is definitely an adjective. And the man was dangerously drunk. How was he? How drunk he was? He was dangerously drunk, right? Correct. Yeah, all of you right. Sixth one, she danced magnificently. Everyone said that it was a magnificently performance.
She danced magnificently. Everyone said that it was a magnificent performance.
Correct. Okay, everyone. Then you have her voice. Yeah, Hrithik, question.
One third question, what would be meaning of that?
Third
Perfectly
question.
exactly measurement.
Perfectly exact measurement. Yeah. The measurement was exact, and what does it
meaning
mean?
up to
Since it
using
is okay.
both?
Oh, right. Oh, you mean what is perfectly doing there? Perfectly is adding to. So adverbs can sometimes be used to show the degree, right? So you can count this as something which shows intensification. So it is an exact measurement, and it is a perfectly exact measurement, right? You're intensifying. You are adding more emphasis to that adjective exact using perfectly. Okay.
Okay, so perfectly exact measurement. Measurement
Perfectly
is exact.
Like, you
And
know,
it is
you
very
say things
perfect.
like ekdam sundar or ekdam badhiya and all that, right? It's like that.
Okay.
Right. In that sense, you add it as an intensifier or an emphasizer to the adjective. Okay. All right. Where were we? Seventh one, right? Her voice sounds beautifully. She sang the song as it was written. She sang the song exactly as it was written. We heard it perfect.
And beautiful, exactly, perfectly.
Okay, her voice sounds beautiful. She sang the song
Exactly.
as it was written, and we heard it perfectly. Right? All right. Okay. Now, eighth one is they was a very sensible person, right? Adjective. So, sensible person. He acted very
Sensibly.
He acted very sensibly. So this is the verb being modified. Then you have ninth one. Mayank wrote too slowly on the exam. He always writes slowly. This is a very commonly made mistake.
Too slowly, writes slow.
Mayank wrote too slowly on the exam. He always writes
slow.
Okay. Look at that sentence a little more carefully and let me know what the answer is.
He always writes.
Write is verb, so it can be slowly also, but it does not sound very nicely.
It does not sound very nice.
It seems it's correct. So write slowly, it seems it's correct, but write is noun. Sorry, verb.
Writes is verb. Yes. So what do you think? He writes slow or he writes slowly? What is always? What do you think is always in that sentence?
Adverb.
Always could be adjective.
Always is also an adverb, okay, because it talks about how often something happens. It talks about frequency. And that is also related to the verb right? It always is not linked to anything else in the sentence. So that's also an adverb. It comes under adverbs of time, but some people call it adverbs of frequency also, but both the same thing. Always is also an adverb. Always writes slow or slowly.
Slowly.
First one, Mayank wrote too slow on the exam or wrote too slowly on the exam? Because you have right there also.
I think wrote too slow sounds better for me.
Wrote too slow. See, in any case, if you have a verb, right, and you know that something is modifying the verb, then it has to be an adverb. In both the cases, you will write slowly, right? So you will write Mayank wrote slowly on the exam. He always writes slowly. So in both cases, you will have slowly, because in both cases, you're talking about what? You're talking about the modification of verb. Slowly is modifying the verb, right? In both the cases. Whenever the verb is being modified.
No, one doubt.
Yes, Ritik.
Ma'am, is there any
on the
exception?
exam or in the exam?
Just a minute. Please don't speak over each other. Let one person finish. Yes, Ritik.
Ma'am, is there any exception? Just like we are confusing here, right, slow or slowly. Is there any exception that there is verb, but we are using slow there?
Exception? No. Exceptions
So
come.
whenever we
Exception,
spot
it is just the
verb,
way certain words are used. Like in the case of fast, you don't say fastly, but slowly is an acceptable adverb. No, it is a properly existing adverb, so no problem, right?
so whenever we spot verb and corresponding quality, then that will always be adverb.
Yes, of course. If it modifies a verb, then it has to be an adverb. There is no other thing here, because slow is what? It is an adjective, right? A slow train or a slow cycle, right? So since slow is an adjective, slowly is your adverb. For no, there is no, there needn't be any confusion there. But because in this case, you see that the modification in both the cases are for the verb, you know we have to use an adverb. The adjective cannot
There
come
is
in.
no such word fastly.
No, there is nothing called fastly. Okay.
Ma'am, in first sentence, slowly was adjective because to was modifying it.
To was modifying it. To is not modifying anything. See, for anything to be an adjective, it has to modify a noun. There is no question of modification of anything else there. If you want to call it an adjective, then you have to show me a noun that it modifies. Which is that noun? It is not about Mayank. It is not about exam. These are the only two things which will qualify to be a noun in the sentence. That is, the word used here is not for any of them. Okay.
Madam, I have one doubt.
Yes, go ahead.
Mayank wrote too slowly on the exam. Why this on is used, whether in cannot be used?
No. It is a wrong usage. You don't say in the exam. It is on the exam always.
For example, if they asked about adverbs in the exam or on the exam.
Sorry?
In the adverbs were asked on the exam or adverbs were asked in the exam?
That is for the exam, not in or on. Okay.
So for the exam.
Yes.
So in the exam, nothing. In the exam, there is no sentence.
In the exam is a different kind of usage when you have to talk.
No, they asked about Mayank in the exam, or there was a story about Mayank. So they asked about Mayank in the exam. It will come or on the exam?
On the exam, for sure.
So in the exam, can you please give me an example?
See, in is used in several. We will discuss about it when we talk about prepositions. Okay. We have, I think, prepositions in here. This in, on, at is something that can be used. I mean, you can get right answers for all of them, but then the meaning that it generates is slightly different from each other. Okay. So we'll look at it when we talk about prepositions.
Thank you.
Let's finish with this and we'll come to that shortly. The next one is anyway prepositions.
Thank you.
Yeah. Where is it? Okay. 10th one. Talk softly, soft, or don't talk at all. The music played softly, soft.
Softly.
Talk softly.
In both
It's a
cases.
direct
Talk
modification
softly
of the
and
verb.
played softly.
Yes. Talk softly and the music played soft. Okay. No.
All are the
Played
verbs.
soft or softly? What would you say? Would you say music played soft or music played softly?
Ma'am, it is about
Softly.
playing so
Softly.
softly.
Softly, yes, right. So in this both cases, you have the ly adverb because in both cases we are talking about the modification of verb. In first case talk and the second case play. Okay, now what is the next one? You have Akash knows the lesson very good, very well. She always treats us good or well.
The lesson very well.
The lesson very well, yes. And she treats us
Well.
very well. Okay, that is also well only. She always treats us well. Akash knows the lesson very well. Okay, not good in both the cases.
Ma'am, we have decided it about the how it sound good or well, which sound nice.
Sorry, louder, a little louder. I cannot hear you.
Ma'am, how means well seems to be suited here, but how we will decide in some contradictory situation means what is the main difference in good and
Because
well?
you don't say anything like Akash knows the lesson very good. Okay, that is usually referred to either an activity or something that is object like. Okay, but lesson is not that. The usage is Akash knows the lesson very well. Okay, not very good.
So good will be used according to object. If object is there, then good will be more suited.
You know, in language, you also have something called usage, right? So one needs to keep that also in mind. Okay. But you tell me, since we are at it, is well an adjective or is well an adverb? Because you asked
Ma'am,
this.
it is talking about no, how you
Because
know.
you asked this question, no, that is why.
So it is adverb, ma'am. It is adverb. How we know.
In this sentence, it is used as an adverb, but it can also be used as adjective. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Well mannered. No, sorry.
Like she's well.
She's well. Or say the team played well. Right. So in this sentence, what is it? The team played well. Is it an adverb or an adjective?
Ma'am, it is
Adverb.
talking about playing.
Adjective.
So adverb.
It is talking about playing, so it has to be what adverb? No, the team played well. It's about how the team played. But in our sentence, what is our sentence is where
11.
Akash knows the lesson very well. So in this case,
Knowing,
or
knowing
adjective?
is emphasized.
Sorry.
Adverb. Adverb.
We are saying about know, how we know.
Are we saying about no, or are we talking about the lesson?
How can we listen good or well? Know what is our information that will be good or well.
Okay, again, you know, adverb. I'm just trying to understand if you get the difference between adjective and adverb.
Yes, ma'am. That would be adverb, no?
That is what. I just wanted to know if you understand it, that's all. Okay, so adverb in this case, again, very is also an adverb, but it is used as a modifier to the adverb well. Okay, so in this case also, it's used as an adverb. Okay, both cases. Then 12th one, you must send payments regular or regularly. We deal on a strict cash basis.
Regularly.
Regularly or strictly?
So you must send payment regularly, right? That is correct. We deal on a
Strict cash basis.
No, not strict. You will say strictly cash basis. Okay. Strictly cash basis, not strict cash basis. It is about how you deal, right? So it's strictly cash basis. Then the next one is he did not lift the weight as he thought he would. He did not lift
As easily.
we did not do the 13th one, right? 13th and 14th. The mechanics tools were well, good. The foreman said that his work was good, well done.
The mechanics
Tool
tools
are
were
good.
good.
Mechanic tools were good.
Yes, the mechanics tools were good. Again, predicative usage of adjective. Then the foreman said that his work was
Well done.
well done.
We are talking about work, and there we were talking about tools, which is a
Yes,
noun.
correct. Okay, so 14th one, she worked carefully with the sick old man. She was a very carefully worker.
She worked carefully with the
carefully.
sick old man.
She was a careful worker.
Correct. So the first case is that of an adverb, right? Because we are talking about the verb work. She worked carefully and she was a very careful worker, right? Second time it's used as an adjective to the noun worker, careful worker. He did not lift the weight as dash as he thought he would.
Very
As
will be
easily.
adverb,
As
no?
easy.
As easily.
In 14 question,
As
very
easy.
Yeah,
careful.
but just a second. Someone asking a question about 14th question. Yes.
Very careful worker. Worker is a noun, and careful is adverb, and very sorry, careful is adjective,
Yes.
and very is adverb.
Correct.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, easily, right? He did not lift the weight as easily as he thought he would, right? Janvi?
Ma'am, in the 14th sentence itself, I did not understand why careful can be an adjective and very is said to be an adverb.
Because very is modifying the word careful, right? How careful? Very careful.
So that becomes an adverb.
Yes. So if it is modifying an adjective, it is talking about how it happens. So then very becomes an adverb. And careful is adjective because it modifies the noun worker.
Okay, so just to clarify, adverbs are those words which also modify an adjective as well as a verb.
Adjective, verb, and an adverb. Okay. It can modify an adjective, a verb, and another adverb.
Okay. Thank you.
He did not live. Okay, that we got it done. Then the last one, I find this documentary very interesting. Interestingly, it was interestingly short.
I find this documentary very interesting. It was
Interestingly short.
It was interestingly short. So last one is an adverb because we're talking about how the documentary was short, right? And the first one is about how the documentary itself was, right? I find this documentary very interesting. Okay, so
Very will
Ma'am,
also
short-
be adverb here.
So, ma'am, short is here a verb.
short is a verb, yes. It's the past tense for the verb shoot.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. So this one, you need to understand how you use the adjective and adverb. Just know the functions, right? What it modifies, and then you're okay. Whenever you have a question like this, look at whether the noun is being modified or the pronoun is being modified, or is it a verb or an adverb or an adjective that is being modified. So once you figure out that, then it does not become difficult for you to choose between which one goes as the right answer. Okay. Now we have a quick. Yes.
Ma'am, you are gaining confidence. Is there any book to practice more such type of question as you are discussing along with the answer? We are finding many books, but answer are not given. How will you check?
Yeah, so the problem with suggesting books is that, there are too many books, and what I would suggest is, even if you're looking at books, skip looking at the contents of the book. What you can do is find books which have exercises. Okay, so if there are books with exercises, then just do the exercise part. For the content part, you can follow the lectures from the course, so that you don't get confused with the different wordings or the terminologies that they tend to use in the textbooks. So avoid using that. But what you can do instead is just take off the exercises from that part and solve it if it has any. But otherwise, the internet is full of sources. You can go to any place, just type down exercises, adjectives and adverbs, and you'll get a lot of them. So it's not a very tough task to do that. But a certain book for reference and understanding, I I would not prefer suggesting it, because for that I will have to go through all that books first to suggest something to you. What we have decided for the course is to just let you go through the course content, and for the sake of exercise, you can of course refer anything that we don't place any restriction on. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, you know, different grammar books, they tend to take a very different approach to teach, and all of this together can become confusing for you at the end. Honestly, a lot of them that's explained there is unnecessary also. We don't need that much of a detail to learn the language. So,
And ma'am, one book I was searching for vocabulary. One book I found by Norman Lewis, Word Power Made Easy.
that is for vocabulary, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can look at Word Power Made Easy. I am not sure how efficient it is to learn, to improve on vocabulary. I haven't used it myself. I usually don't learn or acquire vocabulary that way also. So you can try doing it and see how much of improvement it can bring to you, and you can talk about it later to us. Let's see what we can also learn something if possible. Okay. All right. Now this question about in, on, and at no. Somebody was asking. I forget who it was. I think there was a question on how to, whether you say in the exam, right? Is the person not here? Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, somebody asked about whether you say in the exam or on the exam. So see, these three prepositions particularly, in, on, and at, they can be used to mean different things in different contexts, but you need to understand what the basic meaning of each of them is, right? So for example, if I have a sentence, I am dash the classroom. So you can use all the three prepositions there. You can say I am in the classroom. You can say I am at the classroom. You can also, but you can't say I'm on the classroom for sure. Okay. Why not on? Because on is a preposition that you mostly use when you have to talk about the presence or location of something above a surface, right? So in that sense, on becomes a little problematic to use. But at and in both can go for a sentence like this, because the difference between using at and in would be when I say in the classroom, I am defining the location in sense of the space I'm occupying. It means that I'm inside, right? So there is classroom and I'm inside that when I say I'm in the classroom. When I say at the classroom, what I mean is I'm at the premises. I'm not inside, but I'm somewhere, say, in the premises of the classroom, right? So in terms of grammar, both can go. It would be grammatically correct sentence, but the meaning that it generates would be different. Okay, one means inside the space, right? Inside an enclosed space, and at means in the surroundings, in the premises, right? So this is the usage differences is based on the meanings that it can give. It's not as much about the grammar than the meanings it produces, right? So prepositions can give you a variety of meanings based on the location, position, duration, time of, you know, either a noun to the other noun, or a noun with the other adjective, or a noun with another preposition also sometimes. Okay. So this is the basic understanding. With respect to can I say in the exam, again, you know, if it gives you a meaning of something that is in the enclosed space, then you can. For example, say these questions were asked in the exam. A better usage would be, you can say these questions were asked for the exam, or these topics are important for the exam. On the exam is mostly about events that happen in and along that exam, right? So the sentence that we had here was Mayank, where is it? Mayank wrote too slowly on the exam. Okay. In the exam does not make sense here because it does not give you a sense of something that takes place within the exam itself, right? This is about something that happens there. Janvi, any doubt?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask, what does in the exam mean exactly? Like, what does it suggest?
In the exam relates to anything that happens within that space. The preposition in is related to space. Okay. So say something like, there were many chairs. Okay, something like, the invigilators were in the exam at the time we called them. Okay, so this is what does the sentence mean? It means that the invigilators were occupying the space of the exam at the time we had called them, right? So this is not about anything that happened, say, on the paper or anywhere. This is about the whole space of the exam. And that is the difference in the usage. If you have to use the preposition in, then it has to talk about a space, okay? Ideally an enclosed space. Somebody's hands raised.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Janvi, okay. Did you get the difference before I come to Ritik?
Ma'am, I just wanted to clarify one more thing regarding this.
Yeah.
Usually, what I understand from the word exam is the process of the exam, which includes the time and the actual the paper, the process of writing the exam. Is that right, or just the exam means the test paper? Like, that is why. So on the exam makes more sense if I understand the exam to be just the test paper.
Exam is not just the text paper. No, we understand that. Exam is process. Exam is also space, right? All of this can be multiple meanings that you can associate with exam. So it's not just about the paper or the things that you see there. It's also the space. Like, for example, the sentence that I told you about, they were in the exam, or they were, sorry, the invigilators were in the exam while we call them, means what? They're basically occupying the space of that exam, right? That is what it means. So it can be like your understanding is right, but there are also additional meanings to it. Okay.
Okay.
Ritik?
Yes, ma'am. My doubt is that, ma'am, while regarding the meaning of the preposition, my mother tongue is Hindi. In Hindi, we say drawer mein book hai. But in English, we say book in the drawer. The meaning are reversed. So is it always true that in English, whenever the preposition is used, whenever I want to translate in Hindi or I want to understand in Hindi, I have to reverse the direction. Book in the drawer. So in Hindi, drawer mein book hai.
Put in the drawer and drawer means, but what is the difference here?
Book in the drawer. Matlab,
oh, you're talking about the position.
Ma'am, any preposition used, let's say,
so see,
file in a PC.
Question. Hindi mein, and in most of the Indian languages, what we have are post positions. We don't have prepositions. Okay. In English, it is preposition. It, in the sense, it precedes the noun or the adjective that you want to use. But in our languages, what happened? We don't have prepositions. Instead, we have post position, which is why drawer may. Okay.
So we have always to reverse. There is no exception, no?
No, there is no exception. This is the structural difference between different languages, right? So English is a language in which they have prepositions, but our languages have postpositions. So all the locational expressions that we use, they all follow your noun. So drawer may, ghar ke bahar, right? Upar, all of those expressions would follow your noun. Unlike in the case of English. This is a difference between the structure of the languages that we are speaking about. Okay. Meanings would be the same. There won't be much of a difference in the meaning. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Kailash?
Coming back to this, on the exam and in the exam, I would like to compare between like one more sentence. India played well in the match or on the match, it will be. India played well in the match.
India played well in the match, no, not on the match. Why would you say?
Match is something like, for me, match is the exam of qualifier. So exam, I can equal it to match.
See,
for India, it is
learn the language. when you learn the language, the meanings generated by each of the words should also be something that we keep in mind, right? Exam is a different thing altogether, and matches, we cannot compare a match and an exam, right? There are too many things that are different in each of this. You don't say on the match, right? They played well on the match is not a proper usage, or is not an acceptable usage in English. Whereas you can say on the exam, because like I was explaining this to Janvi, there are several meanings associated with the word exam. So it could be the process, it could be the paper itself, it could be the space, it could be the premises and the surroundings of how this thing happens. Because of this multiplicity of meanings, you are able to use multiple prepositions along with it. Not all words or not all scenarios are going to permit that thing. Okay?
Now I will compare this slowly to, if you change it to well, like Mayank wrote well in the exam, or it will be on the exam, madam. If I use well, Mayank
If you use well.
too well, I mean, Mayank wrote well.
Mayank wrote well. Will it be on the exams or in the exam? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on the exam again. Usage. Yes.
Okay, it is not in the exam, generally, but
No,
we are
because we
using.
are
How
still
do you? My mother asked me, how do you do? How did you do the exam? You say, I did very well in the exam.
This is Indian English usage. Okay, that is the problem. Because we have a tendency to translate how we speak in our language into the way we do it in English. Okay.
But what is the difference? Exam and match equivalent, isn't it, ma'am?
That is equivalent to you, but it is not for the native speakers. They don't look at it that way.
Okay.
Right. So the meanings or the idea that is generated along each of the expressions, sometimes prepositional phrases like on the exam, these are also idiomatic expressions. So they will have a very different meaning from what we understand them as literally. So take this as a usage. You don't question usage. You can't ask why is it used like that. That is how it is used. Okay. There would be several things like that in our languages too. You ask them, why is it like this way? This is by convention. This is the most acceptable usage of certain expressions in our language. So similarly, English is also going to have a few things that way. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. Who's this again? Ritik, you have another doubt?
Ma'am, I have a doubt that we are following British English. So is there any difference between Indian English and British English apart from the sound in grammatical sense?
Differences of words and
spelling.
sounds and all that, like, certain expressions and terms used in British English for certain things would be different. Okay. Like if you look at American English and British English, certain words they use. What example can I give you? Like a lorry and a truck, right? So truck is something that mostly is used in American English, and British English will say lorry instead of that. We hear more of lorry than truck because we have mostly followed the British traditions. That's why.
Ma'am, in somewhere on our PC and laptops, there are also one option of Indian English. So I was thinking that is there difference between British English and Indian English?
There are differences of sounds. There can be differences of grammar. There'll be difference at all the levels in different varieties of English. Okay, you can spot that variation at the level of sounds, at the level of words, at the level of syntax, which is grammar. These differences are very common. Among all any varieties, you will find it. Yeah, see, people are giving you examples: soccer, football, or too many such differences you can find at the level of sounds, at the level of words, at the level of sentences, which is grammar, right? Many differences could be there.
So many people say that we are following British English. It would be wrong. We are following our own English, Indian English.
That's right. That's right. Only for writing conventions, I think we stick with the universal conventions, which could be, which is neither American nor British. They have a very different standard that they use, something that is acceptable to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's quickly look at this exercise in preposition. And we'll close for today. We'll take up articles and conjunctions for the next week. But you can also bring in your doubts for the class if you have any. That remains open. Let's look at this exercise now. Complete the blanks using the correct prepositions. I'd rather study and pass. Dash, repeat the course. The choice is between instead, than, besides.
Than, repeat the course.
Okay. I'd rather study and pass than repeat the course. Talking on phone while driving is dash the law, beyond the law, despite the law, against the law.
Against the law.
Against the law.
Against the law. You will receive your parcel within, during, inside. Oh, it's not, sentence is not complete. Okay, anything. You can say in 10 days or something. You will receive your parcel within, during, inside.
In is used
Within 10 days.
Within 10 days, right? So can you also say you will receive your parcel in 10 days? In 10 days instead of within. Within is correct, but can I also say in 10 days?
Yes, we can say that.
Yes, ma'am.
Because in that sense is giving the meaning of within, right? So if I say in, you will receive your parcel in 10 days. Basically what I'm meaning is you will receive your parcel within 10 days, right? So it means the same. So in can also mean within. Fourth one, in this case, you are clearly dash disadvantage.
At a disadvantage.
At a disadvantage.
At a disadvantage, okay. This book dash PJ Wodehouse is full of wit and humor. Of, via, by.
By.
By, right? When it is, you don't say this book of PJ Wodehouse or via. Via is definitely something that is used for location. So this book by PJ Wodehouse is full of wit and humor. Okay, confusion usually comes.
Wodehouse is author name, ma'am.
Sorry?
What is PG Wodehouse? Author name or publisher?
Of a person. That's the name of an author.
Oh, I was thinking it is publisher.
No. PJ Wodehouse is the name of an author. Sixth one, my parents lived in the same city dash ages.
For ages.
For ages. Okay, why not since?
Because I think
We're not talking about a specific year or
suggests the past tense.
No. Yeah, somebody just answered. We are not talking about a specific time point, right? We're talking about a period of time. So whenever we talk about period of times, you prefer for over since. Okay. All right. Then the singer is French. I was dash the impression that she's Dutch.
Under the impression.
Under the impression. Okay. Under the impression that she's Dutch. So these are all expressions also. When you learn prepositions, like I told you in the beginning, focus more on their usage and the meanings that they generate than simple grammar. Okay. The train should have been here
By
now. By now, right? By now. We've put a lot of effort into for
this work.
into this work.
Into this work.
Into this work. Okay, we've put a lot of effort into this work, not for this work or in this work. They may sound grammatically right, but it's a wrong usage. You say into this work. Put effort into this work.
What could be the reason of using into instead of in?
What could be the reason? Sorry, I did not hear you.
What could be the reason for using into instead of in?
That's the usage. Okay, that's exactly what I have been saying, that you have certain expressions in languages which have to be used that way. They may sound grammatically correct to use like that, but then it's not an acceptable usage. You don't say put a lot of effort in this work or for this work. You have to say into this work. Okay. The moment you identify the preposition, the grammar part is over. Then the next part that we need to keep in mind is the usage part, which is more about acceptability than grammaticality. So both of these concepts are important to learn a language properly. And the question that you ask, why? We do not know. That is how it is the usage. That's the usage that is acceptable and permitted in English language.
But I have a question on that, madam.
Sorry?
I have a question on that with respect to the course we are doing. So if we start saying this is how it is used, this is how it is used by the native speakers, where do they learn that from?
Sorry? The last part?
Where do I learn from that? When
you will have to immerse yourself more into the language. You will have to listen more, you'll have to watch more, you'll have to read more. That's how you usually learn a language, right?
Watch more.
The grammatical component can be taught. Rest of the things will have to be acquired.
No, that is watch more of the native speakers.
Yes. Native
data,
speaker, by which we mean
Indian speakers data.
Yes. By which we mean you consume more of the content that is produced with respect to writing and speaking in societies that largely speak English, predominantly use English as their first language, right? Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, Janvi.
With respect to reading, is it necessary to read the old classics and old literature, or is it also okay if we read the contemporary works?
You go ahead with the contemporary. Classical literature is a very different game altogether. Okay, to learn language, it is always better to look at contemporary texts.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the last, I think, there is my friend and I drove the coastline of Chennai through, onto, along. Along, right? Not through, because you don't drive through the coastline. That's not through, means it has to wade its way into something. That is not a proper usage. Onto, again, you can't drive onto the coastline, right? You cannot drive over it. So not a possibility. Answer is along. Right, my friend and I drove along the coastline of Chennai. All right. So with respect
this
to
work will always be wrong.
Sorry.
In this work, is it always be wrong, or somewhere it can be true? Also?
In this case, it is wrong. I don't know if there is a case where I can use in this work.
No,
in this work, yes, you can. If you're referring to a certain work or something, then in that case, you can use in this work. So in this work, the author explains and so forth. That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Through will be either into or out of water. Okay. All right. Fine. So with respect to this preposition particularly, I want to tell you, please look at your, it's mostly prepositions. We don't learn them on their own. You usually call them prepositional phrases. And most of the expressions that we are talking about with respect to usage, they come as prepositional phrases. So once you read more and you listen to more of, English language content, you will automatically start learning them as phrases. Instead of looking them as on and it and in and all that, you're going to look at more as into this work or under the impression or at a disadvantage, right? So this is how you're going to learn it when you are learning the usage and expressions. This particular part about in, on, and at is just to show you the relation of preposition as a word class in the sentence between different segments, right? So grammar is that part, and the rest of the part is usage, where you're going to learn them mostly at phrases, like I told you. So that part, please continue reading, consume more content in the target languages, is English in your case. And in some time, you're definitely going to master it, okay? You wouldn't even have to think too much whether it is at or in, or it would automatically come to you, okay? So that's all. And we will meet again next week. We'll discuss articles and conjunctions for the next class. You will find this material uploaded onto the supplementary tab for English 1. Please check for this. In a day or two, it should be visible there. If not, please write to the code support team and they'll be able to help you. Yeah, that's all from my side today. If we don't have anything more, then we may close the session. Or if you have any doubts, you can ask. Is that it? So can we call it a day then? Okay, all right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
No problem.
Ma'am, next session will be next week, not in this week.
Next session will be on Tuesday. This week I had to reschedule due to some emergency, but it will, the regular timing for this is Tuesday between 12 to 1. Same time on Tuesday.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, and see you next week again.